Every Sunday night, a familiar dread creeps in. The weekend is over and tomorrow the cycle begins again. Monday through Friday feels like a never-ending grind, a blur of alarm clocks, commutes, emails, and exhaustion. Then finally, Friday night arrives. You get 2 days of freedom, just enough to recharge, before being thrown right back into the machine. Sound familiar? If so, then here's the brutal reality. You are not living. You are surviving. Think about it. If you live for the weekends, that means you're actually living only 2 out of 7 days every week. That's less than 30% of your life. Now let's do the math. If the average human lifespan is around 80 years, that means you'll get 4,000 weekends in your lifetime. But if you waste 5 days a week just waiting for the weekend, then nearly 57 years of your life are spent in waiting mode. That's over half a century spent wishing for time to pass faster. Half a century of postponing happiness, freedom, and real living. If that doesn't terrify you, you're not paying attention. The brutal reality of a wasted life. How much time do you actually have? Let's break this down even further. You think you have 80 years of life, but when you subtract the time spent on things you have to do, here's what's left. Sleeping, 1/3 of your life, 26 years gone. Work, 40 plus hours a week, 445 years, 13 plus years gone. Commuting, errands, and household chores, 11 years gone. Mindless scrolling on social media, watching TV, or distractions, 6 to 10 years gone. By the time you retire, if you even make it that far, you might have 10 to 15 free years left before old age slows you down. But will you even be healthy enough to enjoy them? The truth is, if you only live for the weekends, you're throwing away nearly 71% of your existence. Imagine looking back on your life one day and realizing that most of it was spent in waiting mode, waiting for 5 p.m., waiting for Friday, waiting for vacation, waiting to retire, waiting for what? This is the wake-up call most people ignore. Why society traps you in this never-ending cycle. Now here's the real kicker. This is not an accident. From the moment you were born, you were conditioned to accept this cycle. Go to school. Learn to sit still, follow orders, obey authority. Get a job. Work hard for someone else, follow the rules, don't question the system. Retire at 65. Maybe then, if you're lucky, you'll finally get to enjoy life. But by the time most people get there, they're too old, too tired, and too broken down to do the things they once dreamed of. And here's the most insidious part. You were taught to be okay with this. You were taught that working yourself to exhaustion is normal. You were taught that sacrificing your best years for a paycheck is responsible. You were taught that hating Mondays and living for Fridays is just how life works. But what if this entire system is a scam? Because here's the truth, the world doesn't want you to be free. A free person questions authority. A free person doesn't spend money on things they don't need to cope with a job they hate. A free person doesn't spend their life making someone else rich. And so, the system keeps you distracted. It keeps you tired, stressed, and desperate for that tiny escape at the end of each week. Because as long as you're waiting for the weekend, you'll never wake up and realize that your life is slipping away. How to escape the cycle and take back your time. We tell ourselves a lie, one so convincing, so deeply ingrained in our culture that we hardly ever question it. The lie goes like this: life will be better someday. Not today. Not now. But in some distant, undefined future. We convince ourselves that if we just endure a little longer, if we push through the exhausting work weeks, tolerate the stress, and keep sacrificing our time, eventually we'll get our reward. Someday we'll have enough money. Someday we'll have enough time. Someday we'll be happy. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, when exactly is someday? The truth is, the cycle never ends. Promotions lead to more responsibilities, raises bring higher expenses, and success only raises the bar for what's expected. Life isn't designed to suddenly pause and give you time to enjoy it. And if you don't make that time now, you may never get the chance. Think about how fast time has already passed. The last 5 years probably feel like a blur. And the next 5? They'll go just as quickly, unless you take control. What if you woke up one day and realized you spent your entire life waiting? That's the danger of someday. It tricks you into believing you have time, but time is the one thing you can never get back. The final reality check. Are you wasting your life? Let's do a quick test. If you answer yes to these, then you need to rethink everything. Do you dread Mondays and count down to Fridays every single week? Do you feel like you're constantly saying, I just need to get through this month? But you've been saying that for years? Are you always too tired to do what you actually enjoy? When's the last time you felt truly alive, not just relieved that the workweek was over? So if the traditional path, working yourself to exhaustion, grinding endlessly and waiting for retirement, is a trap, then what's the alternative? Most people measure success in terms of money, status, and possessions. But what if real success isn't about what you gain, but what you don't sacrifice? What if success is waking up without stress or regret, having the freedom to be present in your own life, spending time on things that genuinely matter, not just what pays the bills? Because when you look at the people who are truly happy, they're not the ones who waited for someday. They're the ones who had the courage to step away from the system and define success on their own terms. And you can do the same. But only if you stop waiting. The world won't give you permission to live your life. You have to take it. The courage to choose a different path. Breaking free from the cycle of living for the weekends isn't easy. Society has conditioned us to believe that success is measured by busyness and that suffering through work is just part of life. But who decided that? Think about the people you admire the most. Are they the ones who work themselves into the ground, waiting for retirement to finally start living? Or are they the ones who took risks, prioritized their time, and created a life they didn't need to escape from? The hardest part isn't making a change, it's believing that change is possible. That you can redefine success and build a life that actually feels like living. The world will tell you to wait, to keep your head down and work harder. But you don't have to listen. Because at the end of your life, no one will remember how many emails you sent or how many weekends you spent dreading Monday. They'll remember how you lived. Will you take control or keep waiting? If this video made you uncomfortable, that's good. It means something inside you is waking up. But now you have two choices. Ignore this message, click away, and go back to waiting for the weekend. Take control of your life right now. Most people will choose the first option. But if you're ready to break free, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe and join a community that refuses to settle for a life of waiting. Because your time is too valuable to waste. And if you're still waiting for the perfect moment to start living, that moment is now.